This video is going to be a little bit different from what I would normally put out. Today I'm going to pull back the curtain on my life. I'm going to give you a peek behind the scenes around a situation that is something that I probably wouldn't normally share on social media. But my hope in doing this is that it resonates with you, it helps you, especially as we head into that time of the year when people are setting goals and they're thinking about the future. So I want to start with a question. I want to ask you this. Have you ever been in a group of people where all of a sudden you feel like you're the least capable person in the room? Maybe all of a sudden that inner voice suddenly starts to jump in and it starts screaming at you, what the hell are you doing here? You don't belong here. Now I want you to take that feeling and I want you to imagine feeling like that after over a decade of being seen as an expert in your field, to find yourself suddenly wondering if you've actually been fooling yourself all along. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Now, if you are new here on the channel, my name is Anthony Laye. I'm one of Australia's top speakers on mindset and communication and charisma. Over the years, I've coached leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs on how to connect, lead, and inspire. But here's the thing, all that being said, I'm not somebody who was a naturally confident social person. I was far from it. A big part of my journey into understanding communication and human behavior, it wasn't just about excelling as an entrepreneur. For me, it was about surviving socially. Growing up, I often found conversations really hard. I was unsure of how to connect with others. And I think deep down, I was trying to figure out the code, so to speak, the way to understand how people worked so that I could feel more confident and less anxious in social situations. So when I moved to Australia in 2009, I decided to throw myself into the world of entertainment and keynote speaking. Now, back in the UK, I'd done a few small events, but when I arrived in Australia, I decided that I wanted to see if I could make it a full-blown career. Now, performing on stage, it forced me to confront those social challenges. It forced me to face them head on, and it really helped me train and refine my communication skills in the trenches. And it's a huge responsibility when you suddenly find yourself paid to stand on stage in front of hundreds, possibly even thousands of people, and you are solely responsible for holding their attention and being entertaining for 60, 90 minutes. It's quite a daunting feeling. Now, over time, so I started out in entertainment, but over time I then transitioned into the coaching and speaking space, and speaking around communication and human behavior, which felt like a really natural progression, as it was something that I'd become really good at by doing it, failing, and then trying again. And through the years of working with the top corporate companies around Australia and around the world and making appearances on TV, I had built a reputation within the corporate world as an expert. I'd worked with leaders, I'd worked with entrepreneurs to help them connect, to help them communicate better and be more charismatic. But here's the truth. Even as I was helping others, I was still searching for a deeper understanding of myself. And a few years ago, I felt like I'd hit a wall. I felt like I'd plateaued out in my career. It wasn't just in the professional space, but it also then bled over into my personal life as well, because I was feeling like I was stuck. I was feeling like I wasn't evolving, like I wasn't growing anymore. And for me, if I was going to stand on stage teaching and inspiring people to improve their own communication skills and live a life that I like to call a life less ordinary, then I needed to be doing the same. I needed to be eating my own cooking, so to speak. It wouldn't be in alignment with my core values if the person who I was off stage didn't match the person who I was on stage. And during lockdown, I was scrolling through YouTube when I came across a video by a guy called Chase Hughes. Now, Chase is a former military veteran who spent 20 years working in PSYOPs, which is psychological operations. We're understanding human behavior and influence. It wasn't just important, it was a case of life or death. And what really caught my attention, though, was his development of a system which he's now called Neurocognitive Intelligence, or NCI for short. And this system, it wasn't just about understanding behavior. It was about predicting it and then using that understanding to navigate high-stake scenarios. The precision and I suppose also the practicality of how he was explaining it instantly stood out to me. So a quick outline. for you so that you can understand NCI a bit better. It's a framework that combines self-awareness, behavior analysis, and communication mastery. It's been used in high-stakes environments like intelligence operations and military operations. But what really fascinated me was how Chase was applying it in everyday life to improve relationships, to improve people's influence, and to be able to apply it for their own personal growth. So for me, this wasn't about necessarily replacing what I already knew and was teaching. The skills and the techniques that I was starting to learn through NCI, they amplified what I was already teaching. It added a depth, it added a precision that elevated my coaching and my speaking to what I feel is now at an entirely new level. I feel like I'm jumping ahead of myself a bit here. So let me rewind it just a little bit. So about 18 months ago, I signed up to study NCI through a mentorship program. And let me tell you this, it was humbling. I went from being the expert in my field to feeling like the most inexperienced person in the room. Suddenly, I wasn't the person with all the answers. I was the beginner again. I felt like I was fumbling my way through. And the hardest part of this was the voice that came up in my head, and it was whispering, what if they see me fail? What if they realize that I'm not as good as I thought that I was? That judgment, whether it was real or just imagined, and it was imagined, it became really hard to manage. But at the same time, it also forced me to confront my own ego and give myself the permission to be a beginner again. In the first few months of doing NCI, I started to see things differently. I realized that some of the habits and the patterns that I'd relied on for years were actually now at a point where they were holding me back. And the more that I started to lean into the discomfort, the more I began to grow, and not just professionally, but also personally as well. At the start of 2024, I set myself a goal to become NCI 3 qualified by the end of the year. Now, for me, this wasn't about me trying to get a certificate. It was about me mastering what NCI calls tradecraft, which is the ability to apply behavioral techniques in high-pressure, real-world scenarios. Let me show you this. This is the resource book. Look how thick that thing is. That is the resource book, along with over 70 hours of video training. That is what you need to know to be able to go into the NCI 3 exam. Now, look, while this book is absolutely amazing and the course is absolutely amazing, it is intense. There is a lot. This is a surgical dissection of human behavior and the human mind. And the final exam for NCI 3, it is done live. Now, a little bit of a secret here. I've never been one to revise for exams. I've always just winged, or won, however you say it. Basically, I've just gone into an exam and just seen how I've gone, to the point where I even cheated on my high school English exams. But in the exam, you're given a number of scenarios and you're shown footage of a particular situation. And in real time, while being observed, you have to explain how you would deal with it. You need to break down what you observed, why those details matter, and how you would apply specific elements of tradecraft to handle the situation effectively. This isn't just a test of knowledge, it's a test of application. It's a test of being able to think on your feet under pressure and be totally confident with the words that are coming out of your mouth. I've done the exam, and I'm very pleased to say that as of today, I am the first person in Australia to be NCI 3 qualified. Now, this isn't, for me, hang on, put that down. For me, this isn't about being first, it's about what it represents. This was the start of me breaking through that plateau that I had hit. It was a commitment to growth, and more importantly, to being able to learn some skills to bring even more value to the people that I get to coach and the amazing companies that I get to work with. So as we head into 2025, here are 3 key insights from my journey that are going to help you approach the year ahead. So number 1, self-awareness is your superpower. The better that you understand yourself, so that's your triggers, your strengths, and your blind spots, the more effective and impactful you will be in every area of your life. Second thing is drop the ego. Setting aside your ego and letting yourself Giving yourself the permission to be a beginner again is one of the hardest things to do, especially if you are being used to be seen as an expert or a leader. But real growth happens when you let go of the need to have all of the answers, when you allow yourself to start from scratch and be stretched in ways that truly challenge you. And then the third thing is learning is intentional. True growth comes when you challenge old habits and you seek out systems or people that push you to think differently. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you one bonus tip, and that is knowledge is only as powerful as its application. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you take that knowledge and how you use it. Take action. Small steps, they compound into significant changes over time. So there you go. There's a little bit of peek behind the scenes of my journey. Like I said, this is a bit different to what I would normally post, but I felt that it was really important to share this experience that I've had. I wanted you to see and understand what's been going on behind the curtain for me, because I know how easy it is to look at somebody on stage or maybe online putting out videos and assume that they've got it all figured out. But the truth is, we all struggle. We all have those things that we're scared about, those things that we're worried about being judged on. And we're all a work in progress. So if you're feeling stuck or uncertain, or you're just in need of a little bit of a push, remember that growth is always possible. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Even if it feels uncomfortable or it feels like it's messy and that you're faking it. So whatever goals you are setting for the year, remember this: success, it isn't just about the destination, it's about who you become along the way. So here's my challenge to you. What do you need to bring into your awareness this year to invest in your growth? Whereabouts in your life do you need to drop your ego and allow yourself to become a beginner again? I'd love to know. Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this video has resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. Join me in the future videos as I share with you what I feel it is to live a life less ordinary. And also make sure that you check out Chase Hughes' YouTube and Instagram channel. And I'll see you in the next video.